there, fiber friends, Sarah here. Welcome to my yarn lab. I hope that you had a very Merry Christmas season. I know that my family and I did, although it was quite busy and I didn't quite accomplish the lofty knitting aspirations that I had hoped to. I outlined all of those in my last lab report video, which I will link either up here or down below. So I thought I'd take some time in this season between Christmas and New Year's to do a simple little video with you guys and talk about the 3 Christmas sweaters that I didn't quite finish for my kids yet, and just sort of where they're at, how I feel about it, and what I'm going to hopefully do better next year with my Christmas knitting and craft. So I'm going to try not to jiggle my cameras too much as I film this video, but I thought that while we chatted, I would do something a little bit fun, and that is open up my Tanis Fiber Arts Christmas 12 Days of Mini Skeins calendar with you all. I ordered this and it did arrive before December 1st or on December 1st, I believe. But I haven't opened any of it yet. Initially, I had the somewhat lofty goal of maybe filming a 12 Days of Yarn Lab Christmas series of vlogs. Realistically, our life is just too hectic right now. So instead, I decided it would be really fun to open up my calendar, which includes 12 mini skeins and 1 full-size skein of Tanis's absolutely gorgeous yarn. With you all while I chatted about those sweaters. So we'll save the full-size skein to the end, and let's go ahead and open up box number 1. Is a super delicate and lovely speckle. Kind of reminds me of like cereal milk, like if you've eaten Lucky Charms and then the little bits of sort of dissolved marshmallow in the cereal milk at the end. Really pretty, really very pretty. So each mini skein is 25 grams, 95 yards. I believe that it is on her 20% recycled nylon, 80% organic merino base, and they're all one-of-a-kind colorways. So day 1. Now, like I said, I had very lofty plans this year, and I talked about those at length in my last video to finish 3 colorwork sweaters for my kids for Christmas this year. And at the time that I had recorded that video, which I think I had 2 weeks to go before Christmas, I had knit Alex's sweater, and I'll show that here. This is skein number 2, by the way. Which is just a lovely sunshiny yellow, again lightly speckled, really pretty. So I had finished Alex's sweater, hadn't woven in the ends, and I still had plans to alter the neckline, and I haven't done that yet, and Marshall had snipped a hole in the sleeve, so both of those things remain to be done. So Alex did not receive his sweater for Christmas. I should say that that one was the only one that was following a pattern, which was the Guthrie Sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I regret not using patterns for the other 2. I think if you're knitting on a short deadline, having to make up your pattern as you go along is just not the right choice. So next year, should I try to knit 3 sweaters under a time crunch, I won't be designing any patterns as I go. Anywho's, I'm happy to have at least finished it. Wish that I had gotten the neckline reknit and the shoulder patched up before Christmas. But I think that I can get that done in short order before my kids go back to school, which has unofficially become the new deadline for these 3 sweaters, is to send them on Monday, I believe it's Monday, January 8th, to send them on Monday, January 8th in their new sweaters back to school. So new deadline, I think achievable at this point, especially once Marshall goes back to daycare next week. So we have the first 4 skeins so far, and I mean, these three would work absolutely lovely together. That yellow is quite the color pop, like something you might see in a Stephen West shawl. Now, on to Dominic's sweater. Again, this is a sweater that I was designing myself, talked about it at length in my previous video, using a palette, something like this, of my own hand-dyed yarns, and an overall color work, very traditional Fair Isle-esque, if you will, stranded color work scheme. Ooh, the plummy purple of this is just really yummy. So, oops. Oh, 5 of those. Yeah, so Dom's sweater, like you can see here, I knitting bottom up, got through the yoke, decreases that I had planned for, and when I threw it on him, the neck opening is just too big. I don't know if this is something that you've noticed. I've noticed it now a couple times with bottom up circular yoke sweaters. I always find that I get to where I think the neck should be, and the opening is just still too big at that point. So anyways, it needs probably another 5 to 10 rounds of knitting with another set of decreases in there before I do the collar. And what has stalled me out at this point on that sweater is that I have to make decisions. Up until this point, I had planned out all my color work charts in advance and knew where I was going. And this is skein number 6, by the way. I like that we're heading into the blues here. It looks like a fade with the exception of that wild yellow. So, like I was saying, sorry, getting distracted by the pretty yarn. Up until sort of this yoke portion on Dom's sweater, I was following my plan exactly. And, oh, did I get out of order? Yeah. Sorry, this was 7. I haven't opened 6 yet. Up until the yoke portion of Dom's sweater, I was following a plan. I had the charts. I knew exactly what I wanted. And then those last 2 rounds of color work, I sort of imitated, I sort of minimized the previous sections that I'd used. And now I'm at a point where I need to make decisions. And I find that when I'm designing my own patterns as I go, I get bogged down on the decision-making progress sometimes. And so, although realistically I should have been able to finish Alex and Dom's sweaters before Christmas, rather than do the corrections on Alex's, rather than do the finishing on Dom's, I hopped over to start Marshall's sweater. Marshall's sweater, which is a SpiderMan sweater. Ooh, this one, number 6 here, is a basically solid, which is the first solid in this section of yarns. Interesting. So Marshall's sweater, which I'll show you here, is meant to be imitation of the Spidey and Friends Spider-Man costume, which he is absolutely obsessed with at this point in his life. And I knit it flat. I charted it out. I'll go into extreme detail on this later. And there just wasn't enough hours in the day between kids being sick before Christmas, me having to cover more shifts at work than I usually do, 5.5 million things, chemotherapy appointment, that just really added up to a number of excuses and an unwillingness on my part to knit through the night to get these projects finished. So his sweater is now at a point where it needs underarm seams and it needs all of the detailed work to take it from a color blocked Spider-Man-esque situation and into a proper Spidey and Friends sweater. So, you know, I feel like I've got 3 sweaters now that are basically 95% of the way there. Which is why I said it should be achievable to get them done before my kids go back to school next week. How do I feel about the whole thing? Man, I was maybe naively, completely optimistic that I would be able to just whip these out before Christmas. And I don't know if some of the fact that I failed on that comes from a place of Words. Like, I think I've been feeling a lot of starting energy and a lot of fizzling out energy. A lot of energy to come up with great ideas and great projects, and not the follow-through-ness that I need right now. Combined with that has been a little bit of a pressure that I'm putting on myself, or a desire that I'm putting on myself to want to really in-depth share all of these projects with you here on YouTube, which is both a good thing, but then also becomes a barrier to completion because, you know, Dom's sweater I didn't even want to cast on until I had filmed some footage about the yarn choices. I didn't want to progress into the yoke because I thought it would be really great to show you how the construction of the sweater would be. Marshall's sweater, I got the sweater front done up and then stalled on it for a couple days, wanting to film footage on that. Never getting around to it because I think I've got a bit of a creative block or a personal block about doing that right now. All that being said, it felt kind of funky overall this Christmas. And I am irrationally disappointed in myself for not completing all the sweaters that I had set out to, but also trying to give myself some grace, realizing that I am a busy mom of 3 with work commitments and life commitments and cancer commitments, and also doing all of the rest of putting on the holiday. I did an enormous amount of baking this year. I had all of my gifts wrapped and prepped well in advance of Christmas this year. Just, you know, all of the things of Christmas, throwing 3 sweater knits in on top of that, delusionally including also the idea that I would get videos for each of those sweaters. Heck, at one point I thought I was filming vlogs every day in December. I've got a number of Christmas crafts that I wanted to create and share with you. I did make a Christmas wreath and film some footage for that, and then felt overwhelmed by the idea of editing it and getting it out to you. So overall, it was an interesting year, I would say. Yeah, I'm rambling. I need to get back into myself and into the comfortable place that I was in a month or 2 ago at producing video content for you on my channel. And that's why I'm doing this video, because sometimes you just need something simple, straightforward, like a beautiful layout of yarns shared with you all to ease back in, if you will. Because I do have a lot of ambition for my YouTube channel in the new year. So here is that full skein fade. It's more blues than I thought it would be, and these two are, to my eyes, almost indistinguishable from each other. But overall, super gorgeous. Time for the last skein. So, all that being said, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. Oh, this one's super pretty. Yeah, so the base was pure wash sock. I knew there was a name for it. I remember years back when Tanis first came out with this base, discussing at least that it was a organic merino yarn, that the superwash treatment is a different technique, and I will try and link the blog post below where she discusses how that process differs and is more environmentally friendly than conventional superwash treating methods. It's a super squishy, plump, soft, and amazing base to work with, and my color palette here is going to make for a absolutely lovely project, although I might squeak that yellow out. It's just screaming at me here. But here is my absolutely beautiful yarn bouquet from my 12 days of mini skeins from Tanis Fiber Arts, along with the complimentary large full-size skein. Sorry if this video was too much of a ramble, too personal, too deep. I'm just trying to break myself back into it because I'd love to get back into the weekly video routine. I think I even talked about that last time. But there's just been a bit of a funk around here. So sorry if I'm a holiday bummer. Hopefully I made up for it with some shots of the knitted sweaters I've been working on and all of this squishy, lovely, gorgeous yarn. I hope certainly that your holiday was amazing. Don't get me wrong, despite this funk, mine absolutely still was. And I look forward to sharing all kinds of yarny and fiber related goodness here in my yarn lab with you in 2024. That's all I've got for today. Bye for now.